If you are starting out and brand new in your business, how can you position yourself as someone who can charge $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 or more at the beginning of your business for each package that you sell for coaching or consulting? That's what we're going to talk about today, and I've got 3 really powerful proven tips for you that I've used to, at this point, help over 1,000 or even 2,000 of my students start out, build their own online coaching businesses, and charge $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 or more per package from the beginning. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Let's jump right into it. Tip number 1, because this is the foundation. If you don't have this, the other 2 tips I'm going to share with you are not going to matter. And that is to position what you are doing, not by the value of your time, not by each hour that you get coaching with me, but by the result that you help that person that you're working with get. And here's why this is so important. When you switch to selling your coaching package, your consulting package, your service as a result, what that's doing is it's completely changing the conversation. You are no longer talking about, hey, you're going to pay this much for an hour of my time or however much of my time. You're not going to pay this much to have my support. Yes, they are still going to get that through working with you, but it becomes no longer about you, but instead about them and the result that they are going to get if they make this investment to work with you, get your help, and on what they want that with. And so think about it. For example, if you are a health coach who helps people lose weight, maybe you're good at what you do, you yourself have lost 50 pounds and kept it off for decades, and you know what you are doing. Great. Maybe I'll pay you $50 an hour to teach me what you know. That's how much your time is worth to me, or 100 or 10, whatever that person, your potential client, is thinking. However, if you change that conversation to how much is it worth to you as a potential client to lose those 50 pounds and keep them off yourself for decades? How much is it worth to you to have that, to be able to live your life every day 50 pounds lighter so that you feel healthier, you feel more confident, you feel better about yourself, to be able to have more energy because you've lost that weight and are at a healthier weight now, and be able to spend more time with your family instead of being tired all the time, to feel good and sexy for your partner, right? That completely changes the conversation. I wouldn't have paid maybe $1,000 for a few hours of your time, because what's the value of your time to me? But if you are telling me and changing that idea in my mind that it's about paying for the ability to be able to lose that 50 pounds or whatever, get that dream job, find that love of my life, get your help copywriting my website so that it looks amazing, whatever that is. This applies no matter what industry you're in. That completely changes the conversation in terms of what I'm willing to invest. And then the rest is about positioning it as a package deal. So I'm not going to be able to help you lose 50 pounds in an hour. That's the truth, right? It's going to take this long. We've got maybe we need, I don't know actually how long it takes to legitimately lose 50 pounds, maybe 6 months, right? Maybe longer, whatever that time frame is. This is how we're going to do it. And here, this is a package deal because we're focused on the result, not just giving you a few hours of coaching here or there. And as a result, all right, here's what that looks like. And again, that is key number 1 to being able to position yourself and your offer so that you're able to start in a 4-figure price range and higher. Number 1, focus on the result. It's not about your time, your coaching, your experience, your worth. Yes, you're going to bring all of that, but you know who your clients care the most about at the end of the day? Themselves and the results that they want. And this is going to allow you to really focus on that. So that's key number 1. Key number 2 is to create great content, but here's the thing. Create great content for others. And Maybe you've heard before, yeah, create great content, show up on your social media platforms, on your website, on your YouTube channel, whatever that looks like. Great, sure, you should do that. But when you're starting out, here's why I said create great content for others, not for yourself necessarily. When you're starting out, where do you start from? You start from zero. No audience, no following, no traffic going to your website. So if you continue posting great content on those places that are getting no traffic, no followers, what are you going to get? You're going to get nobody seeing your great content. So what you want to do instead is to create great content for other publications, other places, other audiences where your audience has already been gathered. So what does that look like? This can take quite a few different forms. I'm going to give you 3 of the most common examples. One is to find written publications where your ideal clients gather to read content. And there are, so many publications online for no matter what industry you're in. And you can reach out to them and say, hey, I did this for myself. I lost 50 pounds and kept it off for decades. And I'd love to write an article for your audience on my best 3 or 5 tips to be able to do that. I think they would love it because I was looking over your website and they loved all these other tips that were similar to what I'm proposing. Let me know if you'd be interested in having me share that via an article. Happy to send over more information, whatever you need. Basically, I just gave you the script to pitch for a publication. And so if you do that, here's what happens. Because that publication already has an existing audience of people who are reading it, what does that do? You get a lot more eyeballs and potential clients reading your great content versus if you post it on your own website, you have no traffic, it's just going to sit there doing nothing, not being seen and appreciated no matter how great it is. That's the first thing. The second thing this does immediately is because it associates you with that publication, it lends you the credibility and authority of that publication. So if people reading that website trust that website because of the fact that you have been published on that website, that editor or whomever as a part of that brand deemed that you were credible enough to share this, that instantly increases your authority factor in the eyes of the people reading it. Because they've seen it there, they're more interested in learning about how they can work with you because obviously you have been deemed credible by a brand that they already trust. And so, again, that instantly changes your positioning from someone, I don't know who they are, they've done this cool thing, but how do I believe them? To, okay, this person has done this cool thing. They're obviously credible because they share this great content on this website that I trust. All right, if I want to learn more about how to work with them, here's what I'll go do. That completely changes you from day one, right? And you don't need any fancy credentials to be able to start doing this. I wrote my first guest post for Huffington Post when I didn't even have a website. I talked about, at that time, I was doing career coaching. And so I talked about some of my own career experiences. This was back when Arianna Huffington was still at Huffington Post and they were a big guest post publication. And I just found the right editor, used the exact template I just shared with you and just shared, hey, I'd love to talk about, at that time, I wrote about my experience being bullied in my career. I wanted to share it. I knew it was something the audience would appreciate. I had some really powerful tips to share. And so I let her know and she said, okay, great. Send the article to me. I wrote it, I sent it to her, and it got published. So all I had was the proof of my experience. I didn't have any credentials online. I couldn't say I've been around, I've helped this many people. All I had was my own experience, and that was enough. So that is the first place you can do that. Another place you can do that, something similar, is with podcasts. You can pitch podcast hosts to be interviewed on their podcast, essentially using the same template I just shared. You can really use that for any place that you're reaching out to. And basically get to that point where you can say that, share the same thing, you get on their podcast interview and get interviewed, and that's your podcast episode. Same thing. That podcast already has an audience. You're sharing great content in a place where there are already people gathered. You do that, and again, People who have listened to you talk for 30, 40 minutes or longer, they trust you. They trust you because you were interviewed by the host, so that host must have deemed you trustworthy as well and credible. And again, that takes you from down here in terms of authority and credibility all the way up here in terms of authority and credibility. The final place is, again, similar idea, just different format with the hosts of big communities. So this can be a Facebook community, this can be a LinkedIn community, this can be a meetup community. Same principle applies, where you do the same thing. Hey, I'd love to do a joint interview with you, a free training for your audience on this, because I've done this. I've personally done that before with, in all of those areas, but lately with the host of a meetup group. And it worked beautifully. I started out way back when with, again, no existing online presence, no audience, no brand recognition online, all of that. I just shared my personal story. And because I had good content to share, which you do as well through your experience with whatever you've done, it got me to that point where that person said, yes, I'd love for you to share these great tips. And we did it. And again, that got me in front of an existing audience instead of posting my great content on my platform or my website, which had 0 viewers. And it lent me instant credibility and authority. And because of that, when someone sees you as, okay, this person trusted this person, how much more are they willing to trust you and hire you and pay your higher priced, your more premium coaching or consulting package, right? So that also makes a really, really big difference. So to recap, tip number 2 is to create great content in other places. And then as you build your audience, as you drive people back to you, then great, that's when you start creating content for yourself, because now you've got traffic to your website. You've got people following you on your different social media accounts. And that's when you create content, there will actually be people who see it on your website and accounts. And that's when you want to start doing that. But it starts with creating great content for others. So that's tip number 2. Tip number 3 is to be able to communicate how what you do is different. And this is why it's so important. So remember, tip number 1 was to communicate in terms of your result versus, oh, I'm selling a coaching package or I'm selling my time. When you focus in terms of talking about that's going to be great. But you can't just say, hey, I'm going to help you lose 50 pounds and keep it off, and you should just believe me and take my word for it. A lot of your clients might say, you know what, I've tried losing weight before. I just haven't been able to. And it's not, I don't know if you can help me because I've tried all of these other things before. And so what you have to be able to share is, that's okay. You tried all of these other things, but they didn't work because of this reason. And that's what I help you do, which is how we're going to get you different results this time. Results that actually last and are the results that you want. And this doesn't have to be complicated. I mean, is exactly what you did. So, for example, I don't know why we're sticking with health coaching today. It's just top of mind for me, so that's what we're going with. I did a group coaching call earlier today for one of my coaching programs and was answering questions for a student who is a health coach. So I think that's why, but we're going to go with it. So if someone is coming to you and saying that, there's so many reasons, and of course they have to be true, but each coach I found has different methodologies. So for example, if you're a health coach who helps people not just lose weight through what they eat or how they work out, but through how they think about food, because you need to change the way you think about it to be able to really, truly make that a long-lasting lifestyle change. You could say, look, okay, what you did before was you tried to stick to a diet and you tried all these workouts, but that's not sustainable because you're still overeating when you feel stressed out or when you have a family event. And so what we're going to do is we're going to dig deep and transform the way you think about eating and food to completely transform your habits so that now your healthy eating, your workouts, all of that will stick and you keep this weight off for good. And so that instantly has me thinking, if I'm that person who's hearing that, that makes so much sense. All right, I can see how this is going to be different and actually help me get that result that I want. And so, okay, this feels a lot more valuable and believable to me. Because if you're just sitting there, you're claiming I can help you get this result, but you're not telling me how or why you're different. And it doesn't have to be anything crazy, right? We all have our methodologies that make what we do and how we help people be different. And it doesn't have to be anything completely out there or rocket science. It just has to be the truth. And you can take your own experiences as well. So for example, let me use myself as an example. The reason I built my current business was because I had tried a whole bunch of other things that hadn't worked. When I was first building my first online business in my job and wanting to build a business that could replace my income, I did some career coaching, I did some digital advertising consulting, I did some Microsoft Excel consulting, I tried a whole bunch of different things. Before that, I also just was kind of researching and saw options where you can learn a skill like copywriting and charge a relatively low amount. You can do affiliate products, you can do MLM, all of that. And none of those things worked for me. And they didn't work for me because I wanted to make more to replace my income. I didn't want to just make a few $100s a month. Nothing wrong with that, but I wanted to build a business that could allow me to leave my 9-to-5 and replace my salary. I also didn't have time to be creating a course while I was in my job and trying to build a list of tens of thousands of people to try and sell that course to replace my income. And that would have taken me years and years and years. And so I landed upon helping people through coaching and consulting via my job skills, right? The skills that I had and experience that I had in my job. And through doing that, I realized, okay, I need to learn how to sell specifically for this type of offer. I need to learn how to market myself specifically for this type of offer, all of that. And there wasn't really any one course or solution that could help me with that. And I couldn't find any coaches that had gone through the same experience of building a business that could replace their job salary while they were in a job. And so I figured it out for myself. And then I said, hey, you know what? This is what I did for myself, and I had to figure it out because there wasn't an existing solution. And so I created the solution. I tested it myself, right, with my first few online businesses, and I can help you by sharing my solution. And so I shared how that was different. If you've tried to build your own business, online business before and haven't been successful because you were in a job, you were busy, you couldn't see how it's going to replace your income, it's because of this: the wrong business model, the wrong business building strategies, wrong time management strategies, all of that. And I encompass that in my employed entrepreneur solution. So you can see it's not rocket science, it's simply the truth. It's the result of what you yourself or what you have helped others go through, where you can say, hey, look, I've helped people, or I did this thing myself, try these things that didn't work. This is what actually worked for me. And so that's how you share the difference. And because of that, that increases the value of what you have to offer to someone, because it's different from what everyone else out there is saying. It's different from the coaching packages, the strategies, the courses, whatever, that they've tried in the past. So you can see how when you do it that way, that really, again, allows you to say, hey, here's the results I'm going to help you get. This is the value, and the value that I'm going to charge is in line with the value of the results that you want. You can see how I am credible and I have authority because I've been creating great content, and not just great content, but great content for these other brands, established brands and sites, which is probably how you found me in the first place. And so you can see I'm credible and I know what I'm talking about. And then finally, right? So you can finally create that final piece that allows people to believe, yes, this is absolutely, I'm 100% in with this price, with this, working with this person. I'm going to share with you exactly why what I do is different and so effective. And it's not gimmicky. It's not like, oh, I'm just going to help you. It's going to be more customized, right? No, here's the actual reason, logical reason that makes a lot of sense, because it's what I had to go through myself, and I did this differently. It's what this person I helped with, had to do differently. Like, we worked on it differently so that they got different results from what they were trying before. When you have these three pieces, the results, the credibility, the authority, and then the differentiator. Those three combined are really kind of the tripod that allow you to position yourself as a premium coach or consultant from day one and charge those higher priced packages. So hopefully you found this really helpful. If you have, and you're now wondering, okay, how do I go out there and get some more clients? I've got a really great next video for you. You can watch it right now by clicking on the screen on this video on 4 really creative ways to get your first paying clients, where I share 4 of some of the most creative ways I've seen from my students, my colleagues, my clients over the past few years working with thousands of students that people have used to get their first paying clients. It's going to get your creative juices flowing and show you what's possible for you. So make sure you check out that video. I share the exact things that these people did, the things, the steps they followed, the templates that they used, their exact strategy. So you are going to love that. And if you are loving that and really enjoying this video as well, I've got one other great gift for you. It's a free PDF on my blueprint for building a 6-figure business that replaced my salary before I left my job. So you can get that free PDF by signing up for it. The link is again either on this video and or in the description. So make sure you check that out. All right, that's it for today. If you found this super helpful, make sure you have clicked that subscribe button so you get notified every single week when I release a new video on helping you build your own online coaching, consulting, and course business so that you can go from employee to entrepreneur. Thanks so much for being here and watching, and I will see you next time.